The following program has been rated GE by the Kenya Film Classification Board. It is therefore suitable for general family viewing.
Hello viewer, welcome to Chungu Jamii. This is GBS TV. My name is Betty Akuku. I am your host and I have beautiful ladies in studio. Today we are going to be talking about something that you really must be interested in. That is something that is called mental illness. And a lot of people think that if you're mentally ill, then you have to be out there in tattered clothes, walking and picking dirty food from the streets and eating. Today our topic is going to be bipolar awareness. I'm not sure if you have heard this and what you know about it. I have an expert and an activist. I'll ask them to introduce themselves and then we will talk more about this. Welcome, ladies. I'll start with you.
Okay. Hello, viewers. My name is Mombi Karoke. I'm a bipolar activist and also an artist, and I use my music to raise the awareness.
Welcome, Mombi.
Thank you so much for having me.
Good to have you.
Thank you.
Good morning, viewers. My name is Sharon Muhindi. I am a counselor psychologist and I counsel in all spheres of life. Thank you.
Okay. Welcome, welcome. It's good to have you and to see you guys.
Thank you.
What is it about bipolar? I will probably start with the counselor to tell us what is bipolar. How do we define bipolar? What is it?
Bipolar is a mood disorder, and it has its highs and lows. At one point in bipolar, you might find you're very depressed, or there's something that we call the maniac high. In the olden days, bipolar was used to be referred to as maniac disorder. So when we say maniac, you find someone is extremely happy. Yes, that's what bipolar is all about. Yeah.
Extreme.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mombi,
Yes.
you are a bipolar activist.
Yes, I am.
What do you do exactly? How did you become a bipolar activist? What led you to that?
Okay. I had an experience with a friend last year. I didn't start this long ago. I only started. So this friend had an attack episode. I didn't know exactly what it was, but someone mentioned bipolar. So when I went to check on Google, I've been learning it on Google.
Thanks to Dr. Google.
Yes. yes. No. So it really touched me because the person was really suffering. Okay, and
Suffering from what? Because you could be suffering from malaria, you're hospitalized. How does that lead you to Google, or what were you Googling about?
Okay, this friend was okay, like today, and then they were very active on social media, and then all of a sudden they disappeared from, So
From
I
the
didn't know
public.
what, from the public, and I didn't know what was going on. So I decided to take a step and go look for them. And when I finally found them, they were, I mean, it's something I didn't expect. In fact, I expected something like they moved or something bad, but what I saw was something really disturbing. They were, I'm going to put it in details, very drunk and dirty, and they wouldn't even recognize me as much as I was a close friend. And and something told me that this person is really struggling and suffering. So, and you know, the isolation because they had no
So
food.
you were with this person like one day, and the next day they're not there?
For a couple, like,
Or for some
2
days?
weeks, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
For
yeah.
2 weeks?
Yes.
Yes, that's a long time.
That's a long
It's
time.
a time to get you concerned.
Yes.
So they were not picking their calls, they were not being found in the residential places
And on social media.
and on social media?
Yeah.
Okay, so did you report to the police?
No.
Okay, so you just began your search,
Yes.
and when you finally found them, you found them drunk, dirty,
Yes.
on the street?
Yes.
Okay, not robbed?
No.
Okay, so that made you to search what?
what
And
was
they
going
couldn't
on.
recognize you?
No, even themselves.
Even themselves?
Yeah.
So you were not confused that it could not be them, probably?
As in?
You didn't think that it's probably not them?
No, I knew them very well, so I knew there's the person I've known, but now they are different, totally different. So I decided to take that's when I started talking to other people, and someone mentioned maybe they could be bipolar. So
someone mentioned.
Yeah.
Okay. Thankfully, we have a counselor with us. Sharon, what would you say about that incident?
For bipolar, it manifests over a long period of time. These are symptoms that could go on for days, weeks, or even months. And depending with which extreme a person is in, it depends with the symptoms. So, for example, if it's the depressive mood, now there's this part of, like she's saying, they isolate themselves. They become dirty because they're not able to take care of themselves. They get insomnia. Others go into drugs and alcohol. Yes. If it's now the other extreme, which is the maniac high, you find somebody is reckless. They are always very happy. When they do things, they actually don't care about it, and they actually don't even care what people, say. They are also risk takers. Yes, but again, these are symptoms, like I said, they progress over a long period of time. It's not something that happens for 2-3 days, then you say, oh, this one is bipolar. No.
So 2 weeks period that this person had taken, was that enough to make that conclusion? Because I'm here to ask her, how long did that go on after she first found out that this may be bipolar? Like how long did it go on? So was 2 weeks enough to make such a diagnosis with all these symptoms?
Yes, yes and no. Yes, why? Because, I'm saying yes because for a certain behavior to progress on for 1, 2, 3, 4 days, now that's worry. That's something that you should worry about. But again, let's not forget that there are things that happen, in our life, circumstances that make us,
Draw
withdraw.
back,
Yes.
isolate.
Yes.
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 Because if you lose a loved one,
Yeah.
if you fail in an examination,
Yes.
if you get a disappointment,
Yes.
if your boyfriend drops you, if someone says a no, you would want to close up yourself and just meditate and think about and reorganize yourself.
Yeah.
Would we just say that is bipolar?
We can't say that is bipolar by us withdrawing, but there should be also other signs that would make you want to point, this is bipolar.
Okay.
Yeah.
I am really interested in knowing the signs, lest we conclude everything into bipolar. So viewer, let's take a few seconds break, coming back just now. If you need to communicate with us, and we are very much expecting you to do that, our SMS line is 21144. We are also on Facebook Live and YouTube. Thank you. Coming back shortly.
Hello viewer, welcome to Chungu Jamii. My name is Tigist Hailu.
Hello, I'm Dr. Ruben West
I'm Dr. Charles Mukuka
from the United States of America.
I come from Ethiopia.
from Zambia.
I love Kenya very much.
I love the Kenyan people.
Love is not by confession. Love is by action.
Come on now.
When you are a husband, you are not a husband.
It's very important.
You can count the seeds in an apple, but you can never count the number of apples in a seed.
Her phone is her phone. My phone is my phone.
You only know what you know.
Who forced you?
The more you spend time together, the more stronger you will.
A woman is like a Bible.
Could tell me that they were born and it wasn't from a female, I'd like to know.
A woman, she's a good asset. And a woman, she's a very, very good investment.
When you're up, your family knows who you are. But when you're down, you'll figure out who your family is.
Thank you so much. 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 Thank you so you.
GBS.
Welcome back, viewer. Our SMS line, as I said, is 21144, and we are here discussing bipolar awareness. Please stay tuned and listen carefully. Sharon, before we went for the break, I wanted to know where exactly do you draw the line and declare, because of this and this, besides this, this is bipolar. But first, let me get to Mumbi. Your friend disappeared like 2 weeks, you know, and was isolated, and no one knew where they were. And you were able to Google and ask and find out that this is bipolar. How long did that continue? After the 2 weeks, the state in which you found him, how long did that progress?
It took about 4 weeks. Now, the first 2 weeks before I found him, and then 2 weeks after. Yeah.
2 weeks after?
Yeah. So that makes 4 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah.
In the same state?
In the same state.
Okay. After you found him at 2 weeks, what did you do after you realized that was bipolar?
Okay, what I was doing, I was just, just being there. And now after the episode, after now they got back to normal, because I realized there was nothing much I could do. But
they got back to normal by themselves?
By themselves, yes.
So they just needed time?
Probably, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
By themselves they got back to normal?
Yeah. So after 2 weeks now, I started talking to them about what I did. I made some research and I found out what could be causing what was going on. Although they were still in denial, I kind of, requested and pushed a little if we could go see a doctor, psychiatrist. So we went to a hospital. We started seeing a therapist and also a psychiatrist, and yeah.
You know, Sharon, when people hear about psychiatrists, the first thing that comes into your mind is that I have a problem, I am mad, you know, something is really wrong with my mind that needs to be fixed, you know. I don't know if that is an approach to give someone who is in that state, like, hey, let's go to hospital, let's go see a psychiatrist, you have this or this problem. Is that a good approach?
It's funny because we were talking about that earlier on.
Okay.
People consider bipolar as witchcraft or being mad.
Oh yes, by the way, because if you have just been all right,
yes.
and then all of a sudden, probably you've never been a drunk, and now you are drunk, dirty, and you can't do anything, you can't recognize people, the major conclusion is that you're bewitched.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a lie.
It's a lie. It's a
so
lie.
tell us, what is it that causes bipolar? Do you just wake up one morning and your moods are up there and down here, and you're not yourself, and you can't do anything, and everything you're doing is just abnormal and out of place? What causes bipolar?
Bipolar is caused by There are so many factors that causes bipolar. Researchers have not been able to pinpoint exactly what causes bipolar, but it could be genetics, it could be hormones, and they say actually women are more prone to getting bipolar as compared to men. Reason why? Because for women, their mood varies from time to time. Yes. And so for them, they are easily affected.
And they also have the worst hormonal issues.
Yes, as compared to men.
So it's just genetics and hormonal
Yes, sometimes
balances.
it could be chemicals in the brain that go amiss. Yes, so it's not witchcraft.
But so now, if this is a genetical problem, no one should get surprised.
Yes.
You should just be aware. I mean, my great-great-great-grandma suffered. So like 2-3 generations after, there could be someone found, or every other generation. And so if this is found in someone, there should be no surprise. The only problem is that you never stick with your family all the time. Sometimes you get out and marry people, and you know, you're in a different environment completely. So people get surprised.
Yes.
Okay, so now what is the diagnosis? Bipolar. How do you know the exact symptoms? Like she was explaining about the 2 weeks isolation, or the 2 weeks just, you know, disappearance from the public, and just gone quiet, and you don't do the things that you do. How would you, where do you draw the line and say, this is just not stress, this is bipolar?
Yes. Apart now from the withdrawal, there are other symptoms that go with it. There could be suicidal thoughts. There could be even that person has tried to commit suicide. Now there is the isolation. There is lack of sleep. Insomnia, yes. Lack of appetite, yes. Not being able to take care of themselves, not being able to do their daily activities, yes.
So then you need to be so close to this person to notice these changes. Because if you are just with them once in a while, then you can never know that there has been a progress in all this. So when someone mentions that they are contemplating suicide, is that an alarm?
Yes, it is. In so many cases, because normally you just don't sit down and contemplate about suicide.
But you know, it could be that you're in a stressful family, you're in a stressful job, there's a lot of threat around you. Could that be bipolar? I mean, because of those stresses, you just mention, it's better for me to die. I wish to kill myself one day because of the pressures of life around you.
Again, if you think of committing suicide because of the pressures of life, it means that this external factor has taken captive of your mind. And that is why you're thinking of committing suicide. So that one is not normal. Because normally, as human beings, you will want to fight back. And we actually don't give up that easily. But when somebody sits down and contemplates suicide and even plans on how they are going to commit suicide, that is a cause of alarm.
That is a cause of alarm.
Yes.
Maybe in the 2 weeks after you recognized, or I mean realized that your friend was suffering, you went to hospital and you said that they were in denial, right?
Yes.
But what was the doctor's final diagnosis? Did the doctor agree with your research that this is actually bipolar, or it was a mistaken diagnosis?
What I realized was that I think it's a process. It takes process is a bit longer before you can diagnose someone with a mental health condition, because it took us a while. It took us a while. We were still going for therapy, and it took us a while.
It took
before,
you some time.
Yeah, some time before he could say this person is actually suffering from bipolar, and they never did. No, he did not actually. He did not
accept.
No.
Sharon, who does the diagnosis?
It's a psychiatrist.
Okay.
Yes.
So before someone has gone to see a psychiatrist, no other person should actually declare that this person is suffering from bipolar. Even the close family members should not just come up one day and say he's suffering from bipolar. Yes. Because I know this could really stigmatize someone. If I start behaving differently or in a strange manner, and people come around me and say, she's suffering from bipolar, I think that really puts down my self-esteem. And so you're saying that the person who is licensed to diagnose is a psychiatrist.
Yes.
No one else.
No one else.
So when somebody like that is brought to you as a counseling psychologist, what do you do?
When such a client comes to me and I notice now from our sessions, I can be able to pick a few things. I refer them to a psychiatrist.
For confirmation.
For confirmation, because for the psychiatrist, there's a test that they normally do for them also to conclude that either you have bipolar or not. Yes, so they don't just talk to you and they decide there and then that this is the diagnosis. No, there's a test that they carry out.
Yes.
Yes, because once you've been diagnosed, you have to be under medication.
You have to take like
there are medication that they give you. There are antidepressants and many other types of medication.
Mentioning depression, where do I draw the line to create a difference between depression and bipolar. Consider someone who has lost a loved one, a very close person like a spouse or a baby.
Yeah.
And this person for some time is just locked up. They don't want to converse with anyone. They don't want to eat. Remember you mentioned lack of appetite, isolation, strange behavior. So this person has locked themselves because of this loss that they have gone through in this space of their time.
Yes.
How do you also differentiate between depression and bipolar? Remember you have said it's only a psychiatrist who is able to diagnose and say this is bipolar,
Yes.
also after doing certain tests, not just after a conversation.
Yes.
Yes. How do you draw the line? Where do you draw the line?
In the beginning, we said that bipolar is a mood disorder.
Yes.
As compared to depression.
Okay.
So that one should be able to draw a line, because for bipolar, like she said, the friend was in a certain state for 4 weeks, and then he went back to normal. Yes, that's what happens with bipolar. You can be in that particular state for some time, then you go back to your normal self.
Oh.
Then the episode occurs back,
It's something
reoccurs
that
again.
recurs.
Yes, it's something that recurs.
So once you see a psychiatrist and the confirmation is done and you're under medication, is it treatable completely, or it's something you have to live with your whole life?
It is treatable depending with which stage it has progressed on.
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
It has stages as well.
Yes.
So when you went with your friend, Mumbi, were you told about stages, and what stage was your friend?
He had other episodes before.
Before that event?
Yeah, before that event.
Ah, and
it wasn't the first.
Oh, you didn't know. It was not the first.
It wasn't the first,
Okay.
but that was before. Yeah. So, and then after like 3 months, another episode attack occurred. So the stage, like I said, it takes what I realized, according to what I learned.
Yeah.
I think the diagnosis takes a while, because the psychiatrist was treating alcohol abuse. So that's something different.
Did he get so much into alcohol after?
Yes. No, after the episode?
Yes, after
No,
the
no.
first one that you discovered. Did he continue too much into alcohol?
No.
He
After,
didn't.
You mean after the episode or during the episode?
After the first.
After-
You remember when you found him so drunk and dirty, right? Then he came back to himself. Did he continue?
No.
He
no.
didn't.
He stops there and there.
So he just resumed his normal life.
Yep.
Was he able
But,
to explain what had happened to him?
No.
He wasn't.
No.
Did he even, so if he wasn't able to explain, did he accept that he was in that kind of state? Did you like take photos and show him and like, this is how you are
No.
some days back?
Unfortunately, I did not do
You
that.
didn't take?
No.
Mhm.
No.
But was he able to remember that he had had such an episode and even previous ones?
Yes.
He was.
Yes.
What did he say about it?
Like she was saying, people think that it's witchcraft, and so he was taking it like it's something that will come and go, something that comes and goes, like it's normal.
And now that it has kept recurring, what does he say?
Being hopeful.
That it will clear someday.
Yeah.
But Sharon, you're saying it's a treatable condition.
Yes.
How long should it take you to treat this and clear it?
It depends with the person.
Who? The psychiatrist or the patient?
The patient, and how severe the bipolar is. So there is no given time frame that you will be able to treat this within 3 months or 1 year, because again, these episodes keep on reoccurring. Yes.
What is the worst thing that somebody can do other than just isolating themselves and forgetting who they are and getting drunk, doing the things that they never do. What is the worst thing that someone can do? Of course, not committing suicide. That one, you know, when they have done that, that is gone, and it's the end of the story.
Yes. I remember there was a time on TV, there's a lady who came who is actually a patient, and she talked about she used to cut herself. Yeah. And she would beat the husband. Yes. So those are some of the extremes. You can even go ahead and murder somebody because at that time you're not in your right state of mind. Yes.
I like Mumbi's story of her friend whom she discovered behaved strangely, isolated himself, had that kind of episode, and later it recurred, but they still think it could not be that. They still hope, you know, of getting back to normal, which happens, but again it recurs. You know, there are patients who, when they're diagnosed with something, they actually get into denial. What is she supposed to do? You know, this is her friend. She has become an activist, beginning from this incident. You know, what is she supposed to do with such kind of a friend, given she really wants to help them out?
First of all, is working with a friend, which I thank God that you are working with a friend. And the other thing is showing them the brighter side of this, because it's not a life death sentence. When you're diagnosed with bipolar, it does not mean that's the end of you. This is something that is treatable.
It's not the end of you.
It's not the end of you.
But do you ever know when it's going to attack you?
No, you actually don't know, but you can, if you're keen, you can be able to get the signs. And that is why when you go see a psychiatrist, they give you the medication. Yes.
How does the medication help you? Because if this is not something you live with every day, as in it will recur, so then what is the use of medication? How does it help you?
We say that bipolar is a mood disorder.
Okay.
So what the medication does, it regulates the mood. It brings it to a balance. Yes.
Why does it still shoot that I still have to get an attack?
It could be probably you've stopped taking the medication. Yes.
So once I am taking medication, you do not expect that I fall into such episodes again.
Yes, unless you stop.
Unless I stop taking the medication.
Yes.
Okay. I'm thinking about Mumbi and her friend in this scenario, that she has to keep working with him, not knowing when this is going to take a complete stop. But I also hear you, Sharon, that as long as you're taking medication, then your moods are put in check such that you don't get such attacks, right? So that means then there's treatment.
Yes.
There's treatment.
Yes.
Once you will, so are you supposed to take the medication like your entire life?
No. You're not supposed to take the medication the entire. Normally you will go for review, and for those reviews they still continue doing the test. So from the test is when now they are able to note the bipolar is no longer there, or it's going down. We will reduce the medication. Yes. So what they advise is you see a psychiatrist plus psychotherapy. Talking about it also helps. Yes.
Mumbi, apart from your friend being a bipolar activist, I guess you meet with so many people while you're creating awareness about this mental illness. What has been your experience on the ground about the same?
Okay, what I've experienced is that there's so many people out there who are sick and suffering silently. And
so many people is like how many out of 10?
I was reading, recent research was done in Kenya, and it said that in every 4 people, 1 is bipolar, 1 is actually bipolar. And what I say, everything in nature is bipolar. Everything. Yes.
Subject to confirmation.
Yes. So there are people who are out there who are suffering and silently, because most of them don't even know what they're fighting, Yeah, so, and also their family, their community. We don't know about bipolar. So what they do, what families do, and friends, they isolate them, and this person will not even, they don't even know that they can actually go out there and seek support. Yeah, so
They
the
don't
stigma,
know, but they feel like they're sick.
they yeah, of course, you know, it's I say bipolar does not have a fever or, you know, a cyst. So but
You cannot
the
tell
change
by
of
yourself.
the change of behavior, and also the mood that, like she is saying, like for example, my friend, they were suffering, and I mean, nobody deserves to suffer like that. What I saw was so
Terrible.
yes.
So who is supposed to do the diagnosis? I mean, who is supposed to discover that? Because can the patient tell by themselves that, hey, you know what, I feel like I'm not fine. Someone needs to take care of me. Are they the ones who are supposed to alert, or somebody else should see it?
The patient can be able to tell, but in most cases, it's not the patient who notices it, but the people around. Yes, because if I live with you, I know how you are.
Yeah.
If I notice a certain kind of change in your behavior, I can be able to tell there's something that's not right. If it progresses on for weeks, months, you know, years, then that's a cause of alarm.
You know, sometimes you insist on someone, Sharon, that you are not well, you need to see a doctor. And like Mumbi puts it, there's no cyst with bipolar, there's no fever. You know, how do you just push someone to hospital? And which hospital are you even going to take them to? You're not going to see a clinician, you know. You're not going to see a gyna. You're not going to see a dermatologist. Which hospital are you going to? When people hear about mental illness, the only hospital that comes straight into their mind is Madare. You know? So when we see you driving towards Madare and you want to take, I mean, I will open the doors and jump out. So where there's no safe, I don't feel like when you talk about Madare, it's a safe space for someone who has been diagnosed with bipolar, you know? And that awareness, much as it may be successful, if I hear that I need to get help from Madare, I will get well, you know? I will get well in my mind, right? I will not want to go there, right? So in your experience, as you were doing the activist job, you know, you meet with people who get violent, you meet with people who are accepting their states, you meet with people who are in denial. What kind of people do you meet?
Well. I think I meet all kind of people, people who are accepting, people who are in denial. And sometimes when I try to speak to people about this, they look at me and tell me, Mumbi, I think you're actually very sick, you need to go seek help.
You're the one who is sick.
Yes. And I just, you know, yeah.
How easy is that? Because now, where do you do your job? Where do you do your job? Because you can't go to a group of people, find people taking a cup of tea, and start talking to them about bipolar. Unless you're going to the streets and find street children and begin telling them, you know what, guys? And everybody else can see that they already have a problem. You know? So what kind of people do you approach? Because if you just approach the normal people, they will tell you the such kinds of statements like, we think you're sick, this is not the place you should be, get out of here and give us some time. So where do you do your job?
I think I talk to everybody, not everyone, because it's not easy to tell when someone could be suffering, even you know, the depression could be approaching, or a manic episode like she was saying, and they're just walking. You think it's normal because everybody looks okay. Everybody is looking okay, but
and
they're
you
battling.
Are okay, and she is okay.
Yes.
So,
but we are battling with, you know, it's war inside the mind. So I talk to everyone, but I've been doing it on social media. There's a page called Bipolar Discussion and Awareness, and also there's also another group on Facebook, and at a community level. Yes. At a
so what do you
level.
tell them? Do you tell them the signs and symptoms to look out for? The availability of treatment? Where is that? You know, who are you going to talk to? Are you telling people what's things to observe, because like you have mentioned, I do not have an issue with the guys who tell you that you are the one who is sick, you know. So when you approach people, you know, in social media, you're talking to somebody in particular. But when you find a group of people, how do you single out? Do you suspect? Do you look at someone and suspect? No. Yeah, so how do you do your work except on social media?
Besides social media, I work with an organization. It's an NGO called Msamalia. And yeah, so I'm not alone. I have a team. And I don't single out people, look at a person and think, this person is sick. Because we've been seeing so many cases of someone just walking from work, going home. And then we see it on TV that, you know, this guy went home and murdered the wife, or the wife murdered the children, or they committed suicide. These are people who are walking in the streets, but they are actually unwell, but it's not easy to tell. So yeah.
Sharon, take a scenario of the guys who go out for war, soldiers. Sometimes they suffer a lot of trauma, especially because of the sins that they have had. Like, take our soldiers who go to fight in Somalia. When they have come back, those things are still in their mind. The sins are still in their mind. And so they really suffer a lot. And some of them are not able to contain it. And when they come home, they don't want to hear any shouts, any noise, anything abnormal.
Yes.
And their spouses or their wives or even their children don't understand, you know, what they're going through at that time. And because of this, they could get out of themselves and even kill and shoot someone. And you can say that's bipolar from what you have told us prior. What do you call that?
That's not bipolar. It's something we call PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. Yes. And that is why you find such people when there's a noise or a bang, they get panic attacks. That reminds them of what they went through the war. That is why it's important for soldiers to actually debrief and to actually have a therapist on site. I think most people, actually, most countries have a therapist, so that you can be able to go and debrief and also to talk about it. Yes, that's not bipolar, that's different. Yes.
I still appreciate the fact that bipolar is only diagnosed by a psychiatrist. Because much as we are creating awareness, we may also get it all wrong and conclude everything into the basket of bipolar, which is false, you know? I had asked you earlier how long it should take for us to make that conclusion with the observation of different behavior change that we have observed. Because if someone, like I said, if someone has gone through a difficult time, like loss of a job or something like that, you expect them to isolate themselves and just be moody and just be quiet. But that is not bipolar, you know? When should the family or the close people take action when they notice some behavior change?
When it goes on for weeks.
4 weeks.
4 weeks, and like the symptoms that I had said earlier on, there are also such symptoms. They can either go to a therapist, where a therapist will talk to the client, and if they find or they notice that there are some behaviors, that is when now they refer them to a psychiatrist, because even I, as a therapist, I'm not able to say you have bipolar, because there are tests that need to be done. It's like when you go to do an X-ray or a CT scan for you to say you have this condition. So it's the same case with bipolar. Yes.
You know, there are people who take too long to grieve.
Yeah.
than others.
Yes.
There are people who, when they lose a very close person, they only need maybe 2 weeks and 1 month. They've gotten over it, they're back on their feet, they're back to their normal life. And there are people who could take 2 years, you know. There are also some strange kind of people. Once I witnessed and heard about a case where a lady lost her husband, and she acted strong through it all until 2 years later. That's when she was really feeling much beaten, and that's when she was feeling the absence of the husband, and straight away she got into depression. You know, there's such kinds of people. So what are we supposed to really look into when we're looking at these different kinds of people before we make that conclusion that we need to take this person to a psychiatrist, we need to take this person to Mandari?
With depression, let me say, for example, a person who has gone through loss, one step to recovery is acceptance. But if you're in denial, that will only damage you. And for example, the lady, she did not deal with that particular issue at that time.
It was not her type of person. It was not her personality.
No, no. There are people who are like that. When something happens, you don't deal with it. You sweep it under the carpet. You know that one. I'll deal with you later.
Oh.
Yeah, there are people who are like that.
Do they do that deliberately?
Not deliberately. It's actually their nature. It's their temperament. Yes. Yeah. So later on, this thing that, you know, because what happens, it's stored in your subconscious. So sooner or later, it will come back to you. And if you had not dealt with it, now it will come and make you crash. And that is why you find such people, they go into a depressive state. Yes. With bipolar, it is the mood, because at one point you're okay, you're normal.
Happens to everyone.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're normal. The next minute, the next time, you are so moody. You know, there are so many things.
So
you
if
have
that
so many
mood
thoughts.
lasts for many weeks,
Yes.
then we now should start looking for sources of help.
Yes.
And
Yes.
see where to take you.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Mumbi, when you work and meet with people who have been diagnosed with bipolar, what do you do with them? Where do you take them?
Who already been diagnosed with bipolar?
Yes. Whether in acceptance or in denial.
Okay. Those who've been diagnosed already, they're already taking medication. So I encourage them to continue taking medication, to never take a break.
Oh, it's a daily thing.
Yes.
It's a daily thing.
Yes, yes, yes. And you know, just caring, just being kind,
What's
just being
the
there.
greatest fear? What's their greatest fear?
Their greatest fear is feeling that they're not good enough, or losing everything, or losing friends.
Why would they fear losing friends, Sharon? And it's not something that happens to you every day. It's an attack that comes, like, how many times in a year for the ones that are really serious?
I can't say how many times, because again, it depends with how severe it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But for someone who's taking medication, does it happen like 6 times in a year?
No, no. For somebody who is taking medication, they can even go for an year without
an attack.
Yes, without.
Why
the
would
attack.
someone fear loss or losing everything that they have? I mean, even normal people would get an accident and die and lose everything they have. Any kind of disease would kill you and you lose everything that they have. Do they have any fear of stigma?
Yes, there's a lot of stigmatization behind it, and also not being able to accept that I have this condition. And when you're not able to accept, you will not take the necessary precaution that you need to. And so what happens, it damages your self-esteem. Yes.
You know, I honestly wonder why people would stigmatize those who have bipolar, because one, it's genetical, And so you never know, as you are stigmatizing the other person, whether it was also in your generation and as soon as it's going to catch up with your children or whoever.
Very true. Very true.
You never know all this.
Yeah.
I don't know precisely why people stigmatize, because it's not something that you sign up for and say, I want to get this disease, you know. I need to ask you, Sharon, who is the person who is predisposed to this? What age? Talking about age, can children also be attacked by bipolar? Can the very old people? What age does it attack mostly?
Mostly, and the research that has been done, mostly it affects the late people who are in the late adolescence and young adults.
Who?
Yes, that is
late adolescents.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, but not children, no.
Children, no.
Yeah.
Old people.
No, not
adolescents.
It's not that common. Yes.
Jesus,
yes.
I wonder why.
Yeah.
Is there a particular reason why adolescents?
There is no particular reason.
Or they're just struggling with identity.
I think that is the period where there is also the issue of identity crisis.
Yeah.
Yes, So I think that's now when it catches up.
That was bad. That is a new thing I have gotten today. I need you guys to give us your parting shot. I'll start with you, Mumbi. Please tell our viewer the last words you want them to get from this topic of today.
Okay. What I would tell everyone out there is please do not judge. Let's stop judging others. Let's try to recognize and appreciate the differences that we have, and celebrate the ones that are worth being celebrated. And also, if you're out there and you're trying to do something, if you have an idea, don't keep them to yourself. Talk to someone. If you feel like if you feel unwell, please just go out and seek help. Bipolar is not really a very bad disease, and it is treatable. And let's all work together. Let's fight the stigma. Let's love one another. Just be kind. It won't hurt. I mean, if you cannot love a person, at least do not hurt them. Just be there for them. Yeah, just be there.
Cool. I hope they got it. Sharon?
My parting shot is for the viewers to know that bipolar is not a death sentence. It is a disease like any other disease that can be treated. And if there are people who are going through it, let's embrace them. Let's give them the good support system that they deserve, and we will all be well. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you so much, ladies, for coming. I enjoyed learning from you guys. Thank you also, viewer. It has been a good time to have you in studio watching this episode, and I hope you have learned so much more today about bipolar awareness. See you next time. My name is Betty. I have been your host. Hello, viewer. Welcome to
Chungu.
My name is Tigist Hailu.
Hello.